All right, to the NBA we go, where the league is investigating claims that the Clippers circumvented the salary cap by arranging a no-show job for Kawhi Leonard.
Steve Ballmer have been accused of circumventing the NBA salary cap by paying $28 million to Kawhi Leonard for a no-show job.
I guarantee you that's probably one of the top 2 reasons the NBA is investigating this.
How would I be able to? They conned me.
Kawhi Leonard has just made himself a prime target for an investigation by the NBA in a deal that saw Leonard allegedly sign a $28 million payday with Clippers owner Steve Ballmer in an attempt to circumvent the salary cap. Now, when you hear Kawhi and trees in the same sentence, you're likely picturing this. Fact. This Kawhi clip,
what it do, baby? Yeah, you already know.
Kinda makes more sense if you give the claw the benefit of the doubt that he thought he was signing up for something else. So what is the recent media storm regarding Kawhi Leonard? Just over a week ago, investigative journalist Pablo Torre on his podcast, Pablo Torre Finds Out, revealed allegations that Kawhi Leonard, through his company KL2 Aspire LLC, signed a $28 million endorsement deal with Aspiration, a sustainability company who recently filed for bankruptcy after its co-founder, Joe Sandberg, was arrested in a $248 million fraud scheme. So what does this endorsement deal have to do with Mary Jane and a $250 million bust? Aspiration's vision on sustainability was planting trees. The company was partially funded by LA Clippers owner Steve Ballmer. This was essentially a no-show job, not too far off his NBA regular season career. It was this arrangement that's been accused of circumventing the NBA salary cap rules to provide Leonard with additional compensation beyond his official contract. This wouldn't be the first time the league is investigating Kawhi, however. As a matter of fact, this specific issue was investigated at its inception back in 2019. Leonard's advisor, Dennis Robertson, known as Uncle Dennis, was investigated for seeking impermissible benefits for Kawhi Leonard back when Leonard was recruited by the LA Clippers. To make matters worse, there was also a reported request for $15 million from the Toronto Raptors owner Larry Tannenbaum made by Kawhi Leonard, which implicates Kawhi and his team into some of the darkest tactics behind the NBA. Could this be the end for Kawhi Leonard? How will this impact Steve Ballmer as owner of the Clippers, and is this an isolated case? Are there other players that might be circumventing the NBA salary cap? And most of all, is Kawhi Leonard even doing anything wrong? Stick around to find out. You're about to get According to Pablo Torre, Kawhi Leonard signed a 4-year, $28 million endorsement deal with Aspiration in April of 2022, 9 months after inking a 4-year, $176 million contract extension with the Clippers. Aspiration, a tree brokerage company marketed as a sustainability venture, received a $50 million investment from Steve Ballmer in September 2021, shortly before the Clippers announced a $300 million sponsorship deal with the company, including jersey patch rights and arena branding for the Intuit Dome. Bankruptcy filings from March 2025 revealed that Aspiration owed $7 million to KL2 Aspire LLC, a company managed by Leonard, suggesting that the endorsement deal was active but unpaid at the time of the company's collapse. Torre found no evidence that Leonard ever promoted or endorsed Aspiration publicly.
The grand total number of times that I found Kawhi Leonard ever publicly referencing Aspiration, 0 times.
And contract clauses allowed Leonard to decline to proceed with any action desired by the company, effectively permitting him to collect payments without performing any work. Imagine signing a work contract to not work. Ben Simmons would be proud. Another clause stipulated that payments would cease if Leonard left the Clippers, tying the deal explicitly to his tenure with the team. Former Aspiration employees, speaking anonymously, claimed the arrangement was orchestrated to circumvent the NBA salary cap, with payments directed to Dennis Robertson, the same Robertson that requested $15 million from the Raptors.
I convinced one very important person who worked in the finance department of Aspiration to go on tape.
And I didn't so much as discover it as I was told about it.
What was your reaction? What were you told?
My reaction was, what the f***? And I was told, like, Oh, by the way, we also have a $28 million organic marketing sponsorship deal with Kawhi, and that if I had any questions about it, essentially don't, because it was to circumvent the salary cap, LOL.
The Clippers denied the findings, stating, "Neither Mr. Ballmer nor the Clippers circumvented the salary cap or engaged in any misconduct related to aspiration. Any contrary assertion is provably false." They noted that their relationship with Aspiration ended in the 2022 to 2023 season due to the company's default on obligations, and neither Ballmer nor the Clippers were aware of Aspiration's alleged fraudulent activities until a US government investigation began. Despite these denials, the optics of the deal, particularly its timing, wording, structure, and basically everything about it, tells a bit of a different story about its true purpose. So what was the deal behind that request for $15 million from the Raptors owner during Kawhi's free agency? In 2019, after leading the Raptors to their first NBA championship and earning Finals MVP honors, Leonard was the most coveted free agent in the league. The LA Lakers with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, as well as the Raptors hoping to retain their star, were considered frontrunners. However, Leonard shocked the basketball world by signing a 3-year, $103 million deal with the Clippers, a team that also acquired Paul George in a blockbuster trade to form a championship contending duo. During this period, rumors swirled about improper requests made by Leonard's camp, led by the infamous Dennis Robertson. According to a 2019 report by The Athletic, the NBA investigated complaints that Robertson had asked for impermissible benefits from multiple teams, including part ownership, access to a private plane, a house, and guaranteed off-court endorsement money. The NBA's investigation concluded without finding evidence that the Clippers granted such benefits, and no penalties were issued. Further complicating the narrative, in December of 2020, a man named Johnny Wilkes filed a lawsuit against the Clippers and then consultant Jerry West, alleging he was owed $2.5 million for helping secure Leonard's services. The lawsuit was dismissed in 2022, but it added to the perception that Leonard's recruitment involved a lot more than what we've been led to believe. 2 years later, in 2024, former Clippers strength and conditioning coach Randy Shelton filed another lawsuit claiming the team violated anti-tampering rules by exploiting his relationship with Leonard to obtain medical information before free agency. While the NBA didn't reopen its investigation following this lawsuit, it was definitely building up to what we're now witnessing.
He is known as peeling out every perk he can, every dollar he can squeeze out, and he doesn't hesitate to take time off. 45% of his games missed in the regular season throughout his career. 30% games missed in the postseason. When you need him, he just ain't there.
A full-on investigation of Kawhi Leonard being implicated in illicit activities. What's crazy is Kawhi might have gotten away with it if Aspiration actually planted weed. Since it was clear no other owner wanted to play ball, why did Steve Ballmer, with a net worth over $100 billion, he is the wealthiest owner in professional sports, with a team he just purchased valued at $5.5 billion and a $2 billion investment in the Intuit Dome Arena, this guy's clearly got cash reserves, and no owner with that kind of money and reputation is gonna settle for a team that plays in the basement or considered to be second-tier status. When they landed Leonard in 2019, that moment transformed the team, positioning the Clippers as legitimate contenders and increasing their marketability. With his bankrolling and a competitive incentive, it makes the Aspiration deal as a mechanism to funnel additional money to Leonard more likely. First, securing Leonard gave the Clippers a superstar capable of challenging the best in the league, particularly the Lakers. This was only the first of 2 goals immediately accomplished. The second is that the Lakers were also seen as a team likely to land Leonard. This move forced the Lakers to have to shift their focus and find another way forward, avoiding certain bottom-dwelling status for the Clippers in the foreseeable future. Now, the $28 million deal, if structured to evade the salary cap, would have allowed the Clippers to offer Leonard compensation beyond the maximum contract without impacting their ability to sign other players such as Paul George, a player that Leonard required the Clippers sign before agreeing to a contract. Seeing as the Clippers didn't think twice about trading future superstar and NBA champion Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
If it would have been done all over again, I'd have done the trade too.
Yes.
It stands to reason that Ballmer would probably do just about anything necessary to secure the league's biggest star at the time, Second, Ballmer's $50 million investment in Aspiration, a company with celebrity endorsements from the likes of Robert Downey Jr. and Drake, makes for the perfect plausible vehicle for such a payment. No one would question it. The $300 million sponsorship deal further legitimized Aspiration's connection to the Clippers, masking any wrongdoing. There was one problem with this, however, which we'll discuss shortly, but Ballmer's willingness to take these risks shows the sense of urgency in winning a championship and establishing the Clippers as a premier franchise. If you recall, back in 2019, the Clippers traded SGA along with 5 first-round picks to acquire Paul George in order to pair him with Leonard. This would have been a lot more difficult if they paid Leonard fully under the salary cap. Their ability to offer him a team-friendly 4-year $176 million extension in 2021 rather than a max of $235 million that Leonard could have pursued as a free agent in 2022 suggests that the additional payments may have incentivized him to accept less on his official contract, preserving cap space for other signings. Beyond roster construction, Leonard's presence elevated the Clippers brand. The Clippers narrative shifted from a franchise overshadowed by the Lakers to one with championship aspirations. Despite playoff disappointments and Leonard's injuries, appearing in only 37 games last season, the Clippers reached the Western Conference Finals in 2021, Leonard's second year with the team. This was their deepest playoff run in the history of the franchise, which validated Ballmer's investment. On the other side of the coin, however, both the Lakers and Raptors were disadvantaged by this deal. The Lakers could have formed a super team with Leonard, potentially altering the Western Conference hierarchy. Looking at it from this perspective, is it possible Adam Silver concluded the investigation of the Clippers to prevent LeBron and the Lakers from being a lock for the NBA Finals year in and year out? Nah. The Raptors, after their championship, lost their star player and struggled to regain contender status. If these allegations are true, the fact that Toronto wasn't willing to engage in illicit contract negotiations dealt them a huge blow. The caveat here, however, is that Kawhi had always insisted he was only going to be a one-year rental for the Canadian team. It would appear Kawhi's free agency wasn't one out of loyalty nor winning, but simply following the money. This backdoor deal with Ballmer obviously would be a swing factor, and this would definitely undermine the NBA's collective bargaining agreement, which only exists to prevent wealthier owners from buying talent in the first place. So where does this leave Kawhi Leonard, the Clippers, and what does the NBA intend to do about it? The NBA is apparently in panic mode and has announced it will investigate the allegations. Specifically, NBA spokesman Mike Bay stated, "We are aware of this morning's media report regarding the LA Clippers and are commencing an investigation. This probe will likely focus on whether or not they tried to bypass the salary cap restrictions. That no work clause would likely be the smoking gun. If the NBA validates Torrey's findings, Leonard could face significant consequences including fines, suspensions, and significant damage to his reputation and credibility. For the Clippers, the scandal might force the NBA to punish the franchise with penalties such as the loss of draft picks, fines up to $7.5 million, or voiding of Leonard's contract. This could send the superstar elsewhere. However, with the shady dealings, this might be unwanted attention for some. The Lakers probably don't even care.
OKC, KFC, UFC. Lakers in 5.
The Minnesota Timberwolves in 2000 already set the precedent, losing multiple first-round picks that year for a similar violation, which suggests harsh consequences are possible. These types of sanctions would cripple the Clippers' ability to build a roster, particularly as they try to figure out what to do surrounding Leonard's injury concerns and Paul George having left. But things could get even worse. Leonard is currently signed through 2027 on a 3-year $150 million extension, and this deal may hinge on the investigation's outcome. At 34 years old, this scandal could possibly even end his career, considering his injury history. Will Kawhi actually have to show up for work? Alternatively, the Clippers do seem committed to Leonard in light of their continuing extensions. This suggests they may stand by him. What's crazy is that Kawhi still owed $7 million from the deal plus another $20 million in stocks. Since Aspirations is now bankrupt, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, as he's unlikely to recoup any of that money since it was never liquid. One of the most incriminating pieces of evidence, however, is that Kawhi Leonard, despite being sponsored by Aspiration, never once mentioned the company or even planted a single tree during his tenure with the Clippers. Although the company did give him a shout out on social media stating that they would plant a tree for every comment and retweet, I'm not sure they were ever acknowledged by Kawhi. Interestingly enough, the Clippers are welcoming the investigations because they continue to deny doing anything wrong.
Pablo's podcast, I don't know anything about the court documents on this. I haven't seen them and I don't know. I'm not trying to be, I don't know. I really don't know. And frankly, any speculation would be crazy. These are guys who committed fraud. How would I be able, look, they conned me.
Had the company not gone bankrupt or had they not terminated ties, they could have always said that they had the intent once Kawhi was ready. After all, getting an endorsement deal is typical fare around the league, so what's so different about what the Clippers did? Well, considering Kawhi did not actively promote the company or did any work, this could work against them. And finally, with the company no longer active, it might end up being a case closed situation, especially if Steve Ballmer is able to let his money do the talking when Adam Silver pulls up. But let me know what you guys think. Did Kawhi cross any lines with this backdoor deal? If he did, what do you think the league should do about it, if anything? Post your thoughts in the comments below. Just be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on all your notifications so you don't miss any of my latest uploads. Thanks for watching. Till next time, swish.